What's going on, everybody? Doc and Sloth back again. A little bit more Halo Wars 2 action today, and this is something that we've been seeing a little bit, and we kind of want to provide a guide for at least what we found. And what we're talking today is the Sentinel Rush. If you guys have played any amount of multiplayer, you've probably seen it. You might have used it. If that's the case, that's totally fine. But we did want to kind of provide a little bit of a guide in order to fight against it. Especially for me, I'm kind of a more, mid-range game player. I like to build up a little bit, get some different stuff going, get a little bit of an army built up. So obviously the rush strategies aren't something I like to do, but this is something that's really been, the PAX East terminal called it. They essentially said it was, a lot of people were talking about how it was breaking the game. I've seen it firsthand, how strong it absolutely can be. So we want to at least provide a little bit of a guide, at least a technique. Might not be 100% the absolute best way to do this, but we've found a little bit of success with this and found that this can actually fight the rush a decent amount. So provide a little bit of guide for you. So essentially what I'm doing up front is my pretty standard base build. Going supply pad, generator, supply pad. I'm going to upgrade the supply pads. I'm going to get a second generator going. And essentially what I'm trying to do is balance my army between Marines as well as getting to Wolverines. And something that a lot of people don't do particularly early is to upgrade and set up defenses for their base as far as turrets, especially in deathmatch. Usually you have a little bit of time. And that's something that we're going to kind of focus on. We've turned Fog of War off, so obviously that's really the only change. We've kept everything else the same. Sloth's actually going to be playing as Anders and rushing to those Sentinels for us to try to build up his full army as fast as he can and really get that going. Again, here we're...
Yeah, the big
Go
thing
ahead. Sorry.
with the professor is she's so based on leader points. It's more so than straight rushing to build a building and push those units out. She is really good at just building anything really to get the leader points, and then using those leader points to turn around and be able to pump units out of your main base. And I think personally the biggest issue is the protector sentinels are really cheap. They're like, I mean, they're 30 energy, I think, and like 280 supplies. I will verify that here in just a second because I just unlocked them. So we are, how long are we in the game? 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and I unlocked them. And they're 280 supplies and 30 energy. And if you are the professor and you're pumping out supply pads, you're going to be able to get this stuff really quickly. So I'm already building myself a little army. So that's really quick. I mean, three minutes into the game is pretty solid. So we're going to try to combat that a little bit.
Right, and so the biggest thing, I just picked Cutter just to kind of provide a leader that, doesn't have any type of significant other really pathing to go, at least in my opinion. I thought about trying to use Forge, but Forge does have a little bit of an advantage, honestly, because he can build up pretty quickly. So that's obviously, kind of favors in his advantage. So at this point, what we're trying to do right here, we're trying to get the headquarters up to level 2. So I've essentially built a third generator. At this point in the game, I would normally go around and take a small mini base anyway, so I'm doing that. I'm actually going to build the armory. And for me, that's going to extend my ability here to kind of go a little bit later into the game. Once you defeat that initial rush, me and Sloth were talking a lot about this. Being able to fight that initial rush and defeat it. Once you do that, you can kind of swing the game back into your favor. And the way we have this set up, we were a little bit worried initially, maybe we overcommit to a certain type of unit and leave ourselves weak to actually trying to, make a counter push. And with what we have set up, I think, we've tested it a few times. I think we'll be okay. So at this point, we've already made it. We're on our way to headquarters level 2. We're slowly building up these turrets. We're making sure we key up the 4. And then we're going to start turning them as soon as we have the energy at this point. We're going to try to make at least 2 of them, if not 3 of them, into anti-air turrets. Now, obviously, we would have to do some searching at this point a little bit. Sloth's moved forward, taking some of the energy pads, which he would absolutely do. So at this point, again, I'm probably sending a Marine. If it's me to scout, you can make one single scout unit as well. I'm going to make that garage, and that's really going to be our next key hit here. I've got 3 turrets up, all moving to air. I've almost got the garage up. I'm obviously at this point realized that he is pushing the Sentinels because he's moving them forward, and I'm kind of scouting as well. We've got the garage in, and as soon as we get the garage in, we're going, and we are making some of our Wolverines. We're also going to start pumping some Marines as well. We're going to try to get a good mix of both. Leader powers here, what I like to try to do for Cutter specifically, I like to do UNSC raid, just helps him pick those supplies up and capture a little bit faster. I'm going to go restoration drones just to help heal the base. And then honestly, I'm probably going to go ODST drop as well, just to provide us a little bit. Now at this point, I am going to use this small mini base to also set up and get some units forward. Sloth's already kind of pushing just a little bit, which if they do it this way is actually preferable for us, because once we get a couple Wolverines up, we're not going to have too hard of a time. Our turrets will do fine against the Marines that he's got. But at this point, he'll probably build up and really send the majority of his units forward to us. The other thing I like to do is get your Marines up. Marines are really good, especially in quantity. So being able to use that mini base to pump them up and get that set up, and then continuing again to just kind of pump units. You've got your armory back here, which you can start to look. Advanced logistics is something I like to do just so you can keep up with the fast production, because he can pump Sentinels pretty quick, and he'll be able to get to a full rush here very, very shortly.
Turret upgraded.
And I wanted to go ahead and push. I mean, I didn't tell Doc what I was doing. I just kind of went in and went straight for the push. I had 3 protectors and a smattering of Marines in there too. And the big thing to notice with that is the base did all of the work for him. So that investment, putting in to really building up your turrets, and I mean, and eventually doing that through the armory, and doing the fortifying base upgrade and all that stuff. But just straight up building the turrets, and if you know that they're the professor, there's a decent chance that they're going to be looking at air. So increasing the effectiveness of those turrets by upgrading them and making them anti-air turrets. I know it's expensive as far as power goes, but it's really worth it. I mean, he pretty much was able to defend that rush just based off those turrets. He didn't even need those Wolverines, pardon me.
Yeah, and so at this point, the nice thing about this is, again, especially if you let them push towards you, you can kind of do lateral expansion. A lot of people, when they rush, they're going to go straight for your main base because that they know that base is going to be the most vulnerable. So what I typically do at this point is you need to start getting those incremental leads. With the rush strategy, Sloth's obviously moving around the map a little bit. He's picking up some additional bases himself. But a lot of times they're going to pump a lot of their resources into their first and only base. They're going to make that the priority. They're going to push for that. And then they're going to kind of leave themselves a little bit open. Now, the one drawback to this is I almost want him to push so then I can send these units to his base, start harassing a little bit. But I will need some of them to die, essentially, because the Wolverines just aren't strong enough at taking out structures themselves. That's kind of why we go a Wolverine-Marine mix, because both are good against air. Once you lose a few Wolverines, which is going to happen, it's totally fine. You can start using that garage. You can start pumping these things up. You can try to go headquarters level 3, and then really start pumping yourself Scorpions and get yourself a good mix of vehicles that'll be able to drop a base pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, with this mix, it is going to be hard if the person rushing is actually putting a little bit of effort into defending their own base as well. It is going to be a little bit more difficult. So my biggest recommendation for that is to hold your leader power if at all possible, and let your leader powers do the work on their base, and kind of just trust that you're going to be able to handle the fight if they bring that fight to you, because the big thing is just stalling them out. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to let them bring their entire army over to the base, fight on our terms, and then as soon as we knock them out, it does not matter how quickly they're able to rebuild that army with the advanced logistics buffed up. I don't really worry about that, because you are going to be able to counter push just so much faster. It's not going to matter. So that's what we're really looking to do here. And I actually almost have a full army ready to go, and I'm going to push, and we'll kind of get a good idea of that.
Yeah, I really...
I'm not very good at rushes, but I'm trying.
I do really recommend getting that armory, getting it quick. Obviously, I haven't built the Spartan yet. I'm focusing, again, more on logistics, because I want to be able to pump Wolverines and especially Marines a lot faster. And I'm really just working to try to get towards that population cap, just for when he does eventually bring in this big force that you see here. Now, Sloth's actually done a good job of mixing it up. Got a couple of Nightingales in there as well to kind of extend the health and the life of his units. But at this point, again, we're 11 minutes into the game, which is probably a little bit longer than we would see like a normal full rush. So we're a little bit probably better powered up than that. But as you can see, he's going to push this in here. We want him to attack. We absolutely do that. Even if he pushes forward and tries to attack a little bit, we're going to see that we end up doing a very, very good job with these units of doing a lot of pretty good damage. The nice thing that we also get with this is we'll be able to get some of our leader powers. I like to use restoration drones here just to keep some things alive. And again, when they attack your base, it sets you up nice because you can create just some of your own units. But as you can see there, that was basically a full army, was it not? You had one or two stragglers coming in.
Yep. And I mean, it's just amazing to me how quickly the turrets can tear these protector sentinels up. Right. Oh, there's a straggler coming in. But I mean, and I was focused. If you were looking at that, I'm sure you guys probably saw. I was focused on the Wolverines. I was having my protectors go Wolverine to Wolverine, bouncing, making sure that I was ripping them up first. It didn't really help me that much, to be 100% honest. I mean, the turrets by themselves are pretty much the biggest thing that will hurt me. And now what Doc's going to want to do is just be able to turn around and push back against me as quickly as possible. And I was actually really strategic with my push, because I had just unlocked the Retriever Sentinel, and I'm actually calling one in now. So this is going to be kind of worst case scenario for you as a defender. You fought the entire army off, and now you turn back around, and I'm building these units just as quick as I possibly can, and I pulled in a Retriever Sentinel, which again, there's no build time. I don't have to wait on it. I literally just call it up out of the leader power and drop it down.
Right. Which again, really just harkens to how good Anders really can be. You're going to see me do something here that I would normally do anyways, but the fact that I have a little bit of an advantage here, I'm going to bring these guys in. I'm going to have them all attack. Get this whole group in here. Got some things kind of pushing forward, but again, we've upgraded our Marines all the way at this point because we focused on that. Energy, I can't describe how important energy is and collection into this. And now at this point, we'll have a little bit of a hard time doing some good damage here. We're going to focus ourselves on the turrets, but I can go ahead, call in some close air support. If I could select this leader power, drop it on this base here. Upgraded Marines, we're going to do ourselves some decent amount of little damage here. You can call it an ODST drop, which I recommend, and a turret, and really just start pumping out some damage.
And it's perfect. That's perfect use of the leader powers, because I'm struggling to do anything now. I was really strategic on calling in my Uber unit and all that, and I mean I'm kind of struggling to build anything, and there's so many people around me. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Doc was able to focus on my turrets, take them out really quickly, and use the leader powers intelligently. So to drop all those extra ODSTs and do all that close air support, he's really putting a hampering on my ability to produce supplies. I have one supply pad left, and that's the big thing. I'm not going to be able to keep punching out units, and my base is down. So I was able to kind of build a couple little bases around here, but I don't have supply production now. There's nothing I can really do to fight back against him, because I was so focused on that rush, and the big thing is he was able to withstand the storm, and then I can't do anything against him now. Wait them out, make them fight on your terms. Use your turrets to your advantage, and then counter push with your leader powers.
Right, and then all the while at this point, again, even if he did expand, maybe he had 2 bases at this point, he still is fighting an uphill battle because I'm kind of in autopilot mode almost. I have plenty of time. I can kind of manage my group of units a little bit, but I can move them as a whole army. And I'm just going to kind of sit back at my base. I'm going to start to kind of build up. I'm going to get some scorpions here. I'm going to upgrade my population. I'm going to upgrade my garage. I want to be able to be unpredictable as far as what I'm going to build, so I'm not going to go like a straight marine push back. As you can see here, I've got plenty of them. And this is going to be just fine in order to take out what he has built. Because the other thing, again, with Marines, and the reason we kind of went this build, not only to help fight the air, but Marines are going to help you capture stuff. You want to be able to take the energy points away, especially with Sentinels. Sentinels are great at fighting the little aggressor Sentinels. So they're going to be able to take up a lot of the energy and probably steal some of yours. So just be able to kind of manage your group of units at this point, continue to build up, leave some units to defend at your base. Honestly, you're going to be absolutely just fine. And at this point, don't be afraid to use these leader powers and get a good quick knockout here. Kind of a counter punch there.
Yeah.
And we're all set.
And like you mentioned, even if I had done a better job of building that second base, which usually if you're rushing, you probably don't want that second base. You don't want to spend all that extra energy. But even if I had done a better job of building that second base, when you come in and you destroy that first base, and I've spent all of my energy and all of my leader points building up Sentinels, I have to choose a different strategy now because you have countered that strategy really well, and I've basically wasted 4 leader points because I've put them into building these Sentinels and stuff, and now I'm not going to be able to use them. So even if I've done a better job on that second base, I think you still have a huge advantage because now you can pick what you want to do because I have to change my strategy. You don't.
Right. Absolutely. And that's why I like the garage. We kind of just use some generic, again, a generic leader, not anything super special with cutter, minus a couple good leader abilities to use. But again, I think this can work with anything. Again, build order, just a few things up front. Obviously, we had Fog of War turned off. You would have to scout. You guys do have to scout. You saw me push my Marines forward a little bit, kind of continue to progress, grab some supplies and some energy on the way. But obviously make a jackrabbit, something that can go scout out for you just to see what they're building. That's huge to this. And that's probably the one thing we didn't really show in depth. But besides that, as far as a build order, I always go supply pad, generator, supply pad. And if you see them building up and you think even remotely that they're going to go Anders with the Sentinel Rush, get up that second generator, grab yourself a side mini base, drop your armory there, put up another supply pad when you can, and then you're essentially getting to headquarters 2, unlocking your garage, and starting to pump upgraded Marines as well as Wolverines. That's your initial force to fight that push. Once they bring in, try to attack your main base. Obviously, you're getting your turrets up, at least 3 of them, to anti-air. Once you make that initial fight, you win that first punch. You can send your units in, start to harass their base, and then that frees you up to continue your armory upgrades, so starting to upgrade your population cap, and then go into headquarters 3 so that you can start going really the Scorpion route, because at that point, like Slaw said, he's not going to be able to continue Sentinels. They're not going to work for him. I have too much superiority against anti-air, so he has to go a different route. Scorpions, in my opinion, are going to be one of the better units that you can use to go in and continue to fight and start knocking out those bases.
Yeah, that's our best strategy as of right now. We'll kind of see how things go, but anytime anybody's trying to rush you, I feel like in RTSs, the best thing to do is to play really defensively, turtle it up, especially if you're 1v1s, you don't have to worry about helping out your teammates, all that. turtle it, work on your defenses, and make him come to you. And I mean, if he doesn't start coming to you, then he's defeated the purpose of a rush. So I think this could really work. Just kind of use those big main tenets, build up your turrets, be really intentional about what you're building, save those leader powers, at least the damage dealing ones, for counterpunching on his base, and make him change his strategy.
Yep, absolutely. Now, obviously, we showed you a 1v1 build. I think this strategy works as well as in a 2v2. Now, obviously, if both players are Anders, you can kind of both run the strategy. If they're not going that route, again, that scout's going to be where that comes into play. So one person can really kind of focus on the anti-air, and then obviously you have to play the mechanics of, if they start to attack your buddy's base, you got to kind of send your forces over there to help him defend. But as long as you both communicate and talk through and generally have some good defenses for this type of rush or any other type of rush that you're seeing, whether it be, maybe a scout rush, which is another kind of popular one, and you're throwing a couple turrets their way for anti-vehicle, I think you'll see some success using this general strategy for really any type of game mode, 1v1s, 2v2s, or 3s. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it was helpful. Let us know down in the comments what your feedback is. We do want to hear from you guys, even if you use the Sentinel Rush or if you hate it, kind of like we're not the biggest fans of it. We're hoping with this soon-to-be released update that maybe they'll do a little bit of balancing and maybe some matchmaking changes and kind of make it not so effective and game-breaking. But that's kind of still to be seen, so we'll kind of continue to update you. But we did want to talk about it because it is a big part of the game right now. So let us know. We do want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear what you think. And if you have any better strategies or tips for those trying to kind of fight this rush, let us know down in the comments below. As always, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, join Average Gamer Guys Club on Xbox. A lot of stuff going there. We're looking to do a lot of stuff with subscribers here in the very near future. So stay tuned for that. And then we're only 2 short days away from this update dropping with the new leader. So we got a lot more content coming, so stick around. I've been Doc. That's been Sloth for Average Gamer Guys. Thank you so very much for checking this one out. We'll check you next time.